Fantasy Premier League. Captaincy choices have historically made or broken seasons, but this week's decision might be the most complex we've seen, with 6 viable options all showing compelling underlying statistics.
You know what's fascinating about this week in particular? The complete reshaping of our usual captain choices due to these key injuries.
The absence of Saka and potentially Palmer has created this fascinating vacuum in the midfield options. Looking at the expected goals data from the first 2 game weeks, we're seeing a clear shift toward forward-heavy scoring patterns.
That really puts Haaland's Brighton matchup into perspective, doesn't it? Their high defensive line has already conceded 4.2 expected goals this season.
Exactly right. And here's what makes the Haaland situation particularly intriguing. Brighton's defensive heat map shows they leave exactly the kind of spaces he exploits. In their last 5 home games, they've allowed an average of 2.8 high-quality chances per match.
The way you're describing Brighton's defensive setup almost makes Haaland sound like too obvious a choice. But what about Salah against Arsenal? His big game statistics are pretty remarkable.
Well, looking at Salah's numbers against top 6 opposition at Anfield, they're actually staggering. He's averaged a goal contribution every 82 minutes. But here's the twist. Arsenal's defensive structure this season is showing unprecedented solidity, with just 1.1 expected goals against per game.
That's quite the tactical puzzle. Though I can't help but notice you're lighting up about this Manchester United situation with Cunha.
Oh my goodness. Yes, the underlying numbers for Cunha are absolutely fascinating. Since joining United, his touches in the box have increased by 47%. And against a Burnley defense that's conceding 2.5 goals per away game, the potential is enormous.
The stats certainly paint an interesting picture, but what really catches my eye is how Cunha's movement patterns have transformed United's attacking dynamics.
Looking at the heat maps, you can see how he's creating these pockets of space that Bruno Fernandes is exploiting. Bruno's expected assists have jumped from 0.3 to 0.7 per game since Cunha's arrival.
That's such an interesting evolution in their attack. But we should probably address the Richarlison renaissance. His transformation has been remarkable.
The numbers behind Richarlison's turnaround are stunning. His shots on target have doubled in the last 3 games, and against Bournemouth's away record of conceding 3.1 expected goals per game, he could be explosive.
Well, that certainly puts things in perspective. So if you had to make a final call based purely on the data, where would you land?
Looking at all the underlying metrics, Haaland still offers the highest floor with a 0.82 expected goals per game against teams playing high lines. But for those chasing in their leagues, Richarlison's 0.95 expected goals against bottom-half teams makes him an intriguing differential.
That's fascinating how the numbers really tell the story. Though I imagine many managers will still struggle with this decision.
The key takeaway from all this data is clear. Your league position should dictate your choice. If you're protecting a lead, Haaland's consistency metrics make him the obvious choice. But if you're chasing, Richarlison's ceiling against Bournemouth's defensive vulnerabilities could be the difference maker.
Those are some really compelling insights to help managers make their final decisions.
Let's hope everyone's statistical analysis pays off this weekend. May your expected goals turn into actual returns.